I look it up, and the year that I was born, 1956, the life expectancy was 60, which means that if the life expectancy is the same as what it was when I was born, I would have been dead for 5 years. That wouldn't be too bad. The problem is that the life expectancy for this generation, for me, is 95, which means I got 30 years to go. And if you're not careful, those 30 years, you're going to be preserved by chemical, namely drugs, right? Over-the-counter drugs. And I have seen my father, I've seen my parent, my in-laws. It's not good. So that scares me. And so I'm doing everything I can to maintain health on my own in an organic way. All right. The scariest disease, and it's not even a disease, it's just part of aging. It's called dementia. My father died of dementia. It's a very, very painful process, not only for himself but for the family. So how do you make sure that you reduce your chance? You make sure that you have enough blood flow into your head. You make sure your chi is very strong. And so you work on your shoulder, you work on the back of the neck, you work on the bottom of your feet, and now you work on the top of the head. Okay? So before we do that, we're going to massage. Now, be mindful of how your brain is separated into three parts. The very top part is your analytical, the back is for your memory, and the very lower part is for your motor function. I've seen my dad decay one at a time. Towards the end, my father doesn't recognize me or my mom or anyone as his family, and because we don't look like his memory. You know, he thinks of his number one son as someone and doesn't look anything like me. He thinks of his wife as someone that doesn't look anything like her. But he recognized us as the caregivers. He does. So in the process, I try to work with him to bring back his memory. So I actually went to YouTube and watched a lot of the video on Macau, where we were born back in the days when we were still living there. And I showed it to him. You know, they were walking around, showing, and I point out where he worked, where I go to school, where I did that. And he was really, 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 really excited that these memories come back to him. All of a sudden, his eye, you can see the fear in his eye. He looks at me and he says, "How come you know so much about me?" As if, what are you trying to do? Who are you? Are you trying to rob me? Are you trying? You can see it because he doesn't connect. And so I said, "Oh," I said, you remember where you work, and you remember across the street there was a lot of beggars, and you used to go across the street with a little bit of money that you have, you used to give out to them. I was one of those boys. And I grew up, I went to school, I got my PhD, I became a professor, I was a businessman, I got wealthy, and I retired, and then I met you. And so now my job is to take care of you. And that helps him to connect the two worlds. The worst part about dementia is that they're not crazy. This is not a mental disease. This is a physical disease. Is that part of the brains are not connected. And if you try to force them to connect, it explodes. It really does. So that's when it goes from physical to mental. They think that they're crazy, or they think that you're crazy. So that's my experience with dealing with my dad is trying not to. It's really come back to my spiritual practice, which is that of mindfulness, which means that you're constantly aware of your mind, so you don't look for things that doesn't exist anymore. You're not attached to things anymore. It's okay that he doesn't recognize me as a son. That is not important to me anymore. I focus on taking care of him, giving him the loving care that he needs, to have to continue his journey. That's my spiritual practice, right? Everything that I do here, whether it's all part of my practice. Okay, so we talk about cortisol, right? So that's one of the stress hormone. It's the one that is generated by your adrenal the adrenal gland, which is on top, a triangular piece on top of your kidney. This one. The other one is adrenaline. The cortisol travels through blood, and the adrenaline travels through your nerve system. Now they're there for a reason. They're there for your survival, right? So when your body senses that you're in danger, or even as simple as waking up in the morning, it puts out these cortisol, this stress hormone, and what it does is that it reorientates your body so that you get ready for whatever it is ahead, right? That's why we call it fight or flight, right? Either you fight and confront the danger, or you run away from it. Either way, it takes a lot of energy. Now, that cortisol is what you need to for survival, but at the same time, it is the one that really destroys the other hormone. One of which is called melatonin. So if you cannot sleep at night, it's because you have too much stress hormone. The other one is called collagen. So you want to have smooth skins like I do, you meditate. You sit like we do, and we'll do that in a minute. You sit like we do. You put your body into the parasympathetic, the rest and digest. Get rid of that stress hormone. And then your cortisol will dissipate, and now your collagen would restore itself, and you would have less skin wrinkle. Or you sleep better at night because you now have melatonin. Or every other thing, everything else is from that. Whether you are diabetic, you're fatty liver, you are high blood pressure, or you are cholesterol, it all comes from that. It all comes from stress. Think about what we're doing as modern people. Fundamentally, as modern people, we have outgrown our evolution. We have outgrown our evolution because think about how we were 10, 100, 200 years ago when we used to live in a cave. What was the lifestyle? Number one, we had no grain. No grain, right? Grain has to be grown. Grains are not wild. So we eat a lot of seeds, right? So a lot of times, healthy foods are seeds, they're not grains. That's number one. Number two is that we do a lot of fasting, not by choice, because we only eat one day, maybe a long time, and the rest of the time we fast. We don't fast anymore. We eat all the time, right? If I ask you not to have dinner, you go nuts. What is the other thing that we do? We spend a whole lot more time on rest and digest. Just a little bit of time when we get out of the cave on fight or flight. So it's not that we have to go back. It's just that we're moving so fast, so far away from our evolution, so our body cannot catch up. So you just have to learn how to deal with stress. And dealing with stress is not just to turn off the sympathetic nerve, it's how to turn on the parasympathetic nerve. It's like the heater and the air conditioning, right? You can't cool down the house by just turning off the heater. You actually have to turn on the air conditioning. So the theme again is harmony. So first part is the posture. Let's sit up straight. Again, go through the 8 points. First one are the legs. The legs are like the pedestal of your bell. The next one are the hands. Relax the hands, so not using any muscle. The next one is the spine. Straighten up your spine as if somebody's pulling your spine. Let your spines become a pillar. Then you open your shoulder, relax the shoulder. Then you lean back your forehead, you tuck in your chin. Entire body lean back, hip forward. So that does two things. One is that when you lean back, the pillar is actually supporting the sky. Okay? Otherwise, as a primate, we tend to hunch like this. So you got to correct that. But at the same time, you want to rotate your hip forward, put some pressure on your adrenal gland to prevent stress hormone. Next one is that you want to relax your eyelids, see the world, see the universe through your eyelashes. Then you want to take your tongue and put that where the teeth and the roof of your mouth meets to re-energize the salivary gland. That's the first part. We call that one pillar supporting the sky. You're now physically in harmony with the earth and the heaven. You are now in the center of the universe. You're the center of the universe because the universe is unbound. So you're therefore the center. The next part has to do with the breath. So we went from the body to the breath. Focus on your breathing. As soon as you know that you're breathing in, open the stomach, focus on your belly button. As soon as you know that you're breathing out, collapse the stomach, focus on the back, immediately across your belly button. Again, open your stomach when you breathe in. Feel the air, the fresh air coming into your nostril. When you breathe out, feel the air going out, a little bit more moist, a little bit more warm. When you breathe in, mindful that you're taking in oxygen, essence that's given to you by the universe for free. No one asks for anything back. As you breathe out, you're actually generating carbon dioxide, essence that are required for the trees to survive. So you're not consuming oxygen, you're actually exchanging essence with the universe, taking in what you need, putting out what other people need, what others need. So as you maintain your posture, I also want you to feel very grateful when you breathe in. Breathe in with gratitude. And when you breathe out with compassion. Think about all the trees, all the beings that survive, that needs the tree to survive. So now you're in harmony with the beings. Keep in mind that human being is just one of the being. You don't own the universe. You're just part of it. Breathe in with compassion. Breathe in with gratitude. Breathe out with compassion. This part we call exchanging the cloud and the fog. Both are essence of the universe. What you breathe in is essence. What you breathe out is also essence. If you don't cut down the trees. If you cut down the trees, then you destroy the universe. So that we went from the body to the breath. Now we are ready for the mind. Come back again to the posture. Stretch your spine. Open the shoulder. Lean back the forehead. Tuck in the chin. Relax the eyelid. Tip of the tongue touching the roof of your mouth. Maintain pressure on your adrenal. Focus on your breath. Relax. Examine your eyebrow, in between your eyebrow. If you want to get rid of your stress, just be compassionate. As soon as you get into this passionate compassion and gratitude, you feel your stress just melt away. You can feel it, you can sense it in between your eyebrow. Bring a little smile in your face. As you breathe in, focus on the bottom of your spine. As you breathe in, scan the body starting at the bottom of your spine, go up to the top of the spine, to the neck, to the back of the head, to the top of the head, to the forehead. Now as you breathe out, come down, scan your body to the bridge of your nose, to the upper lip, cross your tongue to the chin, down to your chest, down to your belly button, down to your lower abdomen, all the way around, wrap around the body to the back of the spine again. Breathe in. Bring the positive, the yang energy up to the top of your head. Bring your body with you. Stretch your spine. Open your shoulder. Relax the shoulder. Lean back the forehead. Tuck in the chin. As you come down, let the yin energy comes down. Lean back the upper torso, maintaining the stress on your hip. and then back again. So this is called the microcosmic orbit. So we're going to do that for 3 minutes on your own, okay? This is extremely good for your health. This was actually invented by the Chinese. Even though they learned meditation from Bodhidharma, they learned the Tao. If you think about the Tao, there's one before Bodhidharma, there's one after Bodhidharma. The Taoists before Bodhidharma were alchemists. The Taoists after Bodhidharma were meditators. So what we know today about Taoists is actually part of yoga practice. This last part, by the way, is called the wandering dragon chasing the pearl. If you keep at it, after a while you feel this energy rising on its own. This is called the pearl. And your mind is that wandering dragon that finally can chase after a shiny object called the chi.